My plan gets us back on track. Provides 2 years of high-quality preschool for every child in America. I don't know if I can get it done, but I also have proposed this free community college. I don't think we should punish anybody, but just pay your fair share.
Joe Biden is whispering and pushing his spending wish list while the country faces a shortage in supplies and surging inflation. This, as his own chief of staff thinks rising prices are, quote, high-class problems. Here to react, Hoover Institute senior fellow Victor Davis Hanson. Victor, I want to get to your book in a moment because it's fantastic, and we will. But first, when it comes to all the crises happening in our country, and at this point, the acute ones when it comes to the economy, you've got a chief of staff explaining them away, and a president saying, well, the answer is a Build Back Better plan that might cost us $2 trillion. He's trying to make it look like that's some sort of a concession. Where are we in all of this?
You know, I think we have it wrong. I think you and I and 60% of the American people believe these are crises. But for every one of these administration pathologies, there's a theory that says it's okay. So if you believe in new monetary theory that printing money makes prosperity and inflation erodes people who have money and spreads it to those who don't, then they're not too worried about it. If you believe that every person born into the world has a natural birthright to come in the United States and borders are mere constructs, then they don't see this as a problem. If you believe that AOC is right, that we've got to phase out fossil fuels in 10 years, and you hector the horizontal drillers and the frackers as you come into the office, then you're not really worried that gas is $5 a gallon in California. Or if you really believe that critical legal theory says that the laws are just constructs, or as I think it was Mayor Fry, you remember in Minneapolis, said it's just brick and mortar when they burned down buildings, or Hannah Jones, the architect of 1619, said, you know, looting is just property, no problem, then you're not really worried that Walgreens are shutting down in San Francisco. So I think it's an ideological preparation for a vast revolution or recalibration of America, and these are just little glitches. They're not worried about them that much.
Interesting. So you're saying the things we call crises, they believe are actually just byproducts of virtuous policy positions we just don't quite yet understand fully.
Yeah, they're minor collateral damage to the greater and more nobler ends that we're all headed to, a nice socialist republic, and they feel that a few eggs are going to be broken to make this omelet.
Wow. A scary reality. And we could talk to you about it all day. But you know what? You're a great friend of the show, a great thinker, someone who, anyone who watching, you know, stops doing what they're doing to listen to, because you always bring that insight, which is why I want to give you plenty of time to break down your new book. It's called The Dying Citizen. Victor Davis Hanson, what is the case you're making in this book?
Well, I think we start with the idea that citizenship is not common. It's not the natural order thing that's very rare in history. It's very rare right now. Most nations in the world do not have citizens. They have subjects or serfs or slaves even. And the United States, and it's a very fragile idea, so we've got to constantly reinvest in it. And how do we do that? And what's happening to it? We have to have a broad middle class that, you know, it checks the rich on one side and the subsidized poor on the other, and then is autonomous and can speak out. What we see at these board meetings, these school board meetings, things like that. You have to have a definite space so that you can inculcate and reinforce these customs and traditions. You can't just spread your citizenship all over the world because you dilute it at the center. And then we're becoming tribal. Tribalism is a pre-civilizational idea before citizenship that people would identify by their superficial appearance, their race or their religion or whatever. And then these were assaults, organic assaults on citizenship that have brought us to this mess, but we had the elite from the top down. We had this administrative state, the Milleys, the Faucis, the Clappers, the Brennans, the McCabe's. These are people, Lois Lerner, that are unelected, and yet they're combining judicial, executive, and legislative powers within one person, and they're unaccountable. We can't object to them because they're almost immune. If they say something that's not true, even under oath, nothing happens. We have also some evolutionaries very quickly. These are the lawyers, the activists, the intellectuals, the academics that say, you know, human nature has evolved We're beyond the Constitution. That's an old ossified relic from the 18th century. Let's get rid of its customs and traditions. Let's get rid of the Electoral College. Who cares? Filibuster, who cares? 9-person Supreme Court, who cares? 50-state union. We're going to make it work for us. In other words, if we don't get what we want, we change the rules or we change the demography. And finally, the bicoastal elite believes that we're citizens not of the United States but of the world. Now, you can see that with Anthony Blinken inviting in the UN to adjudicate whether we're racist or whether we should join the Paris. We're going to go back to the Paris Climate Accord and sort of give an exemption for China and India and be much tougher on us, even though we've more than met its expectations. So you can't have world governance with more than half the nations in any alliance or consortium are not democratic or constitutional. All of those from the top and the bottom make the citizen more and more impotent, and when that happens, you see what we have on the border, or you see these inability of prosecutors to put criminals in jail, or school boards think that they have the right to just insult citizens who are exercising their free speech prerogatives.
Absolutely. The book is The Dying Citizen by Victor Davis Hanson. Hope you check it out. And we always love having you on the program. Victor, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. All right, let's turn now to Chief Meteorologist Rick Reichmuth for